Well, today I've got Christine with me. Christine has worked with Lewis for, is it 3 years, Christine?
No, January, February, March. 2 years and 3 months.
All right, okay. Um, Christine lives in Italy and with a merry band of several people works with Lewis Almeida. And what was it that made you get in contact with Lewis, Christine?
Okay, I was watching a documentary narrated by Charlton Heston, who I adore, and he was talking about Spinoza. Why I clicked onto that, I don't know, just curiosity, I think. So I listened to the documentary and I liked what I heard. I liked Spinoza's God because I was brought up as a Catholic, and it did absolutely nothing for me. It only told me that I was a sinner, full stop. So after I listened to that, I saw down the side um, Gurdjieff and Spinoza, and I clicked onto it, and it was one of Lewis's websites. So I listened to it, and when it had finished, I said to my son, the Gurdjieff name rang a bell, and I said to my son Leo, "Have you got? I'm sure you've got this book." And he said, "Yes, I have, Mom." So I said, "Well, can I have a look at it? Go and bring it me." In Search of the Miraculous. So I read a little bit, not that I understood any of it. Um, uh, and that was really how I got to hear of him. And then what made me contact Lewis was I was going through a very difficult time in my life with family problems. And after listening to Lewis, I thought, this man had wisdom and he may be able to help me. So I did send him an email and he emailed me back.
Right, so really you contacted Lewis because you had some issues of your own you wanted to address,
Yeah, I
and
was in pain. I
yeah,
was in pain. I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. I was full of guilt, shame,
yeah,
just lack of everything,
yeah.
if you
It's,
like.
that's good Roman Catholic stuff, isn't it? Guilt and shame.
Yeah, shame, guilt. Yeah.
So what has been
And
the sorry, what has been the main work that you've done with Lewis?
well, when I did contact him, I thought that I could change people around me. But I soon, with a shock from Lewis, found out that it was me that I had to change, and
Yeah.
I couldn't change nobody else except myself.
Mm. And
So, um, so I started learning about my nature, about my emotions, how they come about, and stuff like that.
I mean, it's quite difficult, isn't it? Did you find a lot of resistance within yourself to do that, or did you
Yes,
you did?
yes, it was. But I kept at it. There are many times I thought, oh, I don't want to carry on. It's too painful.
Mm.
But I persisted because I knew that he had something. I just had this intuitive feeling that this was what I was actually looking for.
Yeah. And how about Spinoza? Because Spinoza is very difficult, isn't it? How did you?
Oh my gosh. Well, as I
Yeah,
said, I'd never heard of him before. And when I got the book, and Lewis used to say, okay, let's go to page so and so, I used to cringe because I'm not an intellectual at all, and I just couldn't understand his language. So, but little by little, with coaching, it started to make sense, bits of it. I mean, there's still a lot of work to do, obviously, but um, it was difficult to start with. Frustrating is the
yeah,
word. You
yeah,
get mad with yourself and you think, well, why don't I understand this?
yeah. But most people who study it for years don't understand it, so it's fairly normal for that to be the case. But in terms of your own nature, would you say that you were, fairly well in contact with your emotions when you contacted Lewis? Were you, because you seem like you probably were, but were you? Could you easily sort of feel your emotions? Because a lot of people can't.
Uh, yeah, I knew I was in pain
Yeah,
and I was causing myself pain with worry, with guilt,
yeah,
with feeling inferior. You know, I, yeah, I
yeah.
did
So,
feel wrong.
I mean, have there been any really big noticeable breakthroughs that you can talk about or that you can remember? Things that sort of aha moments when it all suddenly made sense.
Um, yeah, there's been lots of moments really, and I think the biggest is um, revelation really for me is we think that other people make us angry, make us miserable, and it's ourselves.
Yeah,
And it's a big realization that it's only you that's causing that, nobody else.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That
a
was a big change for me.
Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? That is a big one, and it requires a lot of honesty, really, a lot of self-honesty
Yes.
to
Oh gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've been through many, many tears, many, many tears.
yeah.
Mm.
So, what about the people around you? Have they noticed changes?
Oh, definitely, definitely. My son, within the first month or so, emailed Lewis. He said, "Can I have Lewis's email?" And I gave it to him, not knowing why he wanted it. And he was so appreciative. He said, he couldn't believe the change already in me and how everything at home was much happier, if you like.
Yeah,
and and now, um, and obviously my husband kept complimenting me on how happy I seem these days, how he sees that I've got some sort of power, um, and now he wants to examine himself.
mm, that's really something.
He sees the value in this work, so he wants to know more, examine himself.
Yeah, that's a very great testament about the quality of your work, isn't it? That people see that change and want some. They want it. They want some of that, don't they? That's the bottom
Yes,
line.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's
amazing.
just, I think, admitting that you need help to start with.
Yeah,
I mean, I think for years I've been looking for something. I used to read a lot of Louise Hay, self, you know,
Yeah.
self-motivating books, but you read them and it does not compare to this work. This I feel as though I'm on the right path.
Yeah. That's quite something.
Of self-discovery, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, what major challenges do you think you've got ahead of you? I
Um,
suppose it's hard to say to some extent, but
yeah. I don't really know. I mean, there's a lot still I've yet to learn. Um, I think fear's a big challenge. Fear.
yeah,
We get fearful about so many things, but that's quite going to be quite a big one.
yeah,
To be free from that completely. You know, we as a family now are so much more open. We never used to talk about our emotions. And now my son can talk to me. We can talk about openly. I can talk to him about why I felt guilty, why I felt shame. We're so much open now. It's wonderful, really.
yeah, yeah. That is wonderful. Um, I mean, I think really we've said all that needs to be said. Um, Thank you very much for doing this, Christine. And
Pleasure, because if it can help somebody realise,
yeah,
that they do need help, then it's worthwhile,
yeah. Well,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah. I mean, everybody needs help. It's just that an awful lot of
Yes, it's the admitting that you do need help.
yeah, yeah. I remember a quote from Gurdjieff. He said, "Doing the work isn't all that difficult. It's actually acknowledging that you need to do it.
Yes,
That's the difficult bit."
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Well,
it takes time. But as Spinoza says, I want to reach the summit of wisdom.
yes. Me too. Me too.
One day. There's a lot of work to do yet,
Yeah.
but
Okay. Well, look.
hopefully.
Okay. Well, look. Thank you very much, Christine. And
You're welcome.
yeah,
Could you?
I'm sure a lot of
Oh,
people will appreciate this.
good.